Chalo. Good evening, students. Hi, I'm Rahul from Team Satyam. Your 15 months, 12 months of preparation has finally borne fruit. CAT is over, and I hope you had a good attempt. The purpose of this video today is to just give you a first cut of how things went, both the slots 1 and 2, how it compared with the last year, and how the difficulty level was, to give you an idea of the kind of percentiles that you can expect given your attempt, right? Uh, to get into a little bit of detail, if I talk of the two slots, the first thing is there was no change in pattern, even though the mock that was uploaded by CAT had 28 questions in DIA and all. But again, that was not something that was brought forward. The paper was similar to what it has been in the last 3-4 years. VARC, LRDI, QA, 3 sections, 34, 32, 34 questions respectively, and a time limit of 1 hour each. So that did not change. As far as the level of difficulty goes, I'll start with slot 1 first. Unlike last year, I think the level of difficulty for English was higher. More so because in the first slot, out of the 5 passages which had 24 questions, so 4 passages had 5 questions each, and there was 1 passage 4 questions. It was difficult to comprehend almost 2-3 sets. Okay, so answering the questions became difficult in itself. So the RC part was difficult compared to the last 2-3 years. What could have saved you was the VA part, the 10 questions of verbal ability, where there were 4 parajumbles, 3 sentence exclusions, and 3 summary questions. Out of these 10 questions, 6 to 7 could have been answered easily. They were easy questions, and therefore overall the difficulty level for this set would be moderate to difficult. Difficult mostly because RCs were difficult to comprehend, much better than the last year's RCs. Therefore, the attempt should also go down, because unnecessarily attempting questions that you're not able to comprehend will lead to negative marking, and therefore cutoffs would be lower. As far as LRDA is concerned, I think for the first slot, LRDA was the savior. Compared to last year, it was easier. It was very easy to attempt 3-4 sets. There was a good mix of sets. There were DI questions, there were LR-based questions, there was a combination of both. The idea in this slot should have been to attempt 3 to 4 sets and then look for questions here and there. But yes, in terms of level of difficulty, this was easier than last year. And of the 3 sets also, this was, I think, the savior. And therefore, if I talk of percentiles, I think 10 to 11 questions net would lead to about a 90 percentile bracket in the slot 1 LRDA section. 13 to 14 questions you've done, you should reach the 95 percentile, and 16 to 17 questions. So 16-17 questions means completing 4 sets and then going to a couple of questions here and there. That would lead to around 99 percentile in this section. So overall, this translates to a score around 50-51. As far as maths is concerned, maths probably was easier than last year, because the last year maths was really tricky. But compared to 2017, it was more difficult. In slot 1, there were a lot of questions from algebra, and they were good concept-based questions. So there were questions on cos as well, modulus, series, logs. There are lots of questions there. And though I would not term these questions as difficult, but they were time-taking. And therefore, in this set, anyone who concentrated on arithmetic and geometry, these were 2 sections which are easy in this set, would have done much better, because that would save time and accuracies would have been higher as well. Going for algebra might have led to you losing time or not getting that kind of accuracy that was required. In terms of number of questions and percentile, 12 to 13 questions, a 90 percentile, 16 to 17 would take you to a 95. And if you have been able to get a net of around 20 questions, 99 percentile should be there. So as you can clearly see, this is a little higher than last year, because last year the number of 99 percentile was there around 50-55, so slightly higher than that. But again, as compared to 2017, the question paper was still difficult, right? So this was slot 1. If I come to slot 2, again, slot 1 and slot 2 typically, at least last year, had a similar sort of a pattern with respect to sections. Today, I think it was very different. In the second slot, again, the pattern was same, in the sense that there were 5 passages. 4 passages had 5 questions each. 1 passage had 4 questions. But in the second slot, I think the passages were more readable. Apart from one passage which I think talked about British policy of colonization or something like that. That passage was a little difficult to comprehend. The other passages were not difficult to comprehend. The questions are also not very long. The options were short options, but they were very, very close. It was very difficult to eliminate the right options. Again, you'll be stuck with two options, and to then eliminate was becoming difficult. So because of the kind of options given, the level of paper was high, and therefore again tougher than what we have seen over the past years. As far as parajumble, sentence exclusion, and summary questions were concerned, similar to the morning slot, I think 6 to 7 questions could have been answered easily. And again, this was the savior in the section. Moving on to LRDI, this section in slot 2 was, I think, towards a difficult level as compared to the morning slot. There were three to four sets outrightly on DI and 3 to 4 sets on LR. The DI sets were easy. The graphs were not very difficult to comprehend. The number of data points were not too high. The types of numbers used was not very difficult. 600, 800 average nikalna. There were questions like these. But for me, at least in my paper, they were in the middle. So someone who was able to pick up the DI sets first would have done better. Accuracies would be higher and time taken would not be that high. As far as the LR was concerned, the LR questions were challenging. You had to make cases, and there were chances of getting questions wrong. Therefore, in this kind of a paper, I would suggest if you are able to do around 3 odd sets completely, and then look for individual or a question or two in different sets. You pick up an LR set, look for a couple of questions there. That could have helped you increase your attempt. Anyone trying to do a complete LR set would have lost a good amount of time solving the set, and therefore DI plus selected questions from LR was the way to go here. Because it was a little more difficult than the morning slot, I think even 12 to 13 questions would mean that you reach a 95 percentile. 14 to 16 questions if you've done, I mean, that is again 4 odd sets or 3 sets plus 2 questions from 2 sets, that would ensure a 99 percentile. So this is even less than 50 for the section. As far as maths is concerned, I think maths was easier than the morning slot. There were questions from almost all sections. Arithmetic was there, geometry was there, algebra was there, series questions were there. And overall, I think the level was not very difficult. So it was easy to moderate. The challenge was the options given, and something was there as a rider. For example, there was a question which talked of factors which are perfect squares, but the last 3 words is greater than 1. So someone who missed it might have committed a mistake. Then there was a question which talked of values in 2015 and 19, a 10% increase, 15% decrease. So you solve the equation, but at the end, the question that was asked was about the value of 2015. Options were 2015 or 19, दोनों की values थी. So that kind of mistakes could have happened for someone who was trying to go too fast or not reading the questions properly. Otherwise, questions are not very difficult. One thing that would have happened is these questions would require calculation. A lot of questions required calculation, but you had to be smart about it. For example, there was a question on compound interest. So anyone who was able to find the rate rather than trying to solve the question would have done it faster. So if you were able to smartly calculate, of course the use of calculator would have been there, but if you're able to smartly calculate, you would have saved a lot of time and therefore increased your attempts here. Overall, I think the section was easy to moderate, certainly easier than the morning slot. Again, because it was on the easier side, I think 17 to 18 questions would be a 95 percentile, and slightly above 60, 20 to 22 questions would mean a 99 percentile, right? So overall, I think for both the slots, the story is similar. LRDI and match, I think the attempts would end up in a similar line. What could make the difference is via the VRC section. If you're able to improve, get a good score in VRC, your overall score goes higher. All in all, I think this paper is slightly a little difficult than what we had last year, but as compared to, or maybe on the lines of 2017, right? So this is the first cut. We'll be coming up with a more detailed analysis shortly with once more data comes in. As of now, I think all the very best. I hope you get what you deserve according to your efforts. And I think it's good time to now get on with the next papers. XLR is up, Snap is up. So I think focus shifts to that. All the very best. Thank you.